I think to know that and say, my gosh, do we want to give them another 4 years? It's time to quit bailing out Wall Street and big business. I had a debate with Tammy Duckworth a month ago, and it just slayed me. Tammy was going off on the big banks. And I said, Tammy, I'm right there with you. Let me ask you a question, Tammy. If I were in Congress 4 years ago, I would not have voted to bail out the big banks. Would you have? And she couldn't answer it. I asked her a second time, would you have voted to bail out the big banks? She wouldn't answer. I wouldn't have. The big banks right now are doing fine. They're sitting on a lot of money. Do you know that our financial industry is more consolidated now than it was before the crash? Right. Big banks and big businesses have done just fine. The rest of us have taken it on the chin. I'm sick of bailing out big banks and big businesses. I lost a home 4 years ago. I didn't go to anybody to bail me out. Nobody should have bailed me out. That was my fault and my responsibility. But the minute a big corporation's in trouble, they run to the government to be bailed out. It's not right and it's not fair. We need to stop. Look, there's no more important issue in this election than Obamacare. If we don't get rid of Obamacare, small business will dry up, family doctors will disappear, private health insurance companies will disappear, everybody will be put on government-run health care, and there will be rationing. Now, if that's the world you envision, do not vote for me. Again, none of this should be complicated. Tammy Duckworth believes, and she said, Obamacare doesn't go far enough. I believe in universal government-run health care. If that's where you are, vote for her. I believe in the exact opposite. It's time to reform Medicare and Social Security so they're around for future generations. Hey guys, I'm so tired of this one. Tammy and all the Democrats have been given their talking points. Republicans want to end Medicare as we know it. Fact. Here's the fact. Every politician in Washington knows, that if we don't do anything to Medicare, if we don't reform Medicare, it will be gone in 8 to 10 years. Everybody knows it. So shame on the politicians that don't admit that and that don't offer some reform. The only people in Washington who have done anything about Medicare are those stubborn House Republicans. Well, if you're Tammy Duckworth or Barack Obama and you say don't touch Medicare, shame on you, you're voting to end it. We need to fix it so it's around. Seems pretty simple to me. It's time to bring our troops home from Afghanistan and Iraq. Amen. Bring our troops home from Afghanistan now. I used to be keep them there forever until we win. I stopped knowing what that meant a year and a half ago. Don't do that. Don't do what this president's doing, which is trying to let the enemy know when you're going to come home. Come home now. Just come home. It's time to end illegal immigration. I mean, end it. I mean, end it. We shouldn't live in a country where when you say that, by the way, everybody, this is the most compassionate, loving, giving country in the history of the planet. Do you know that per GDP and per population, we contribute more foreign aid to Muslim countries than any country in the world? This is the most compassionate country on the planet. You should be able to say, it's time to end illegal immigration and really mean it and not be called mean-spirited. The government needs to get serious and secure the border. It's time to get government back to where it's a safety net for the truly needy. We're better than Washington, D.C. thinks we are. But it's up to us to let them know that. We have to grow up. There's that grow up stuff again. And have the courage to tell our politicians to quit making special rules for themselves. Here's the hard part, guys. We have to tell them that we want to have the freedom to live our lives. Democrats don't want you to have this freedom. We want to be free to grow our businesses and raise our families. But you know what? If you give us that, oh dear government, we will assume more responsibility for our lives. That's the bargain. Because here is what's at stake as I close. We're losing freedoms day by day, and government is becoming too big and responsible for too many of us. If we don't change this direction really quickly, our country will go bankrupt. You know, do me a favor. Think about those words. If we don't change this direction, our country will go bankrupt. Do you know what that means? That means what Senator Coburn in Oklahoma said a couple weeks ago. We're reaching the point where in 4 to 5 years, there may not be anybody to lend us money anymore. In 5 to 6 years, your government may only have enough money to do 3 things. Pay for its Social Security obligations, pay for its Medicare obligations, and pay to service its debt. That's all. So all of my Democratic colleagues and friends who want government doing a million things, imagine how devastated they're going to be in 6 years when there's not enough government to do everything they want government to do. That's where we're headed. We will forever lose the values it was founded upon. And we will leave, most tragically, folks, we will leave to our kids and our grandkids a way of life they will never forgive us for. Let me close with this. Young people just don't get it. And it's a shame when most of us were young, we didn't get it. It's so hard to explain to a young person, hey, Steve, who's 22 years old, you know, our country's broke right now. Do you know what that means? It's like, I may get this wrong, but Romney was at a town hall about a month and a half ago, and he started talking to young college kids about how broke the country is and what that might mean for them in 20 years. And the first question out of the box was from a female college student who said, well, all this debt stuff, I don't know what that means. I just want you paying for my contraception. You can't help but not laugh. But how sad. How sad. But these kids have grown up in a country, kind of just like my generation grew up, where we got conditioned to having government take care of more and more of us. That's the great tragedy of where we are. We're a better people than this. We are I said this last night at CPAC, and I said it today in front of all those Republicans. We're the most entrepreneurial, hardworking, energetic, innovative, God-loving, patriotic, industrious people ever made by God. But we're losing that. We're losing that because over a long period of time, more and more of us have let government control more and more of our lives, and it sapped us of that. Not just Barack Obama didn't do this. Barack Obama didn't understand any of this. I'm not talking about Obama. The Republicans lost their way. Because what's the #1 job of everybody in my profession? It's to get reelected. Votes. And so over 60 years, to do that, every politician, Republican and Democrat, thought, if I can just keep promising people things, I'll get reelected. And so we did that. We promised more and more people Medicare. We promised everybody should own a home. So government policies encouraged everybody to own a home. Look what we've been doing with all the public union employees in every state in this country. We kept promising them better benefits. And then these people would all turn around and vote for me, and I'd get reelected. That's the dance we've been dancing. And that's the dance which has gotten us to the point where we're flat broke. We're done dancing that dance. Well, let me take that back. The country is done dancing that dance. Barack Obama's still dancing that dance. He's going to run around and promise you everything. Tammy Duckworth, it's going to be funny to watch her. She's going to run around promising people anything. Hey, Tammy, is there a problem with Medicare? No, that Joe Walsh just wants to end it as we know it. No, but Tammy, what do you want to do with Medicare? That Joe Walsh just wants to end it as we know it. Tammy, is Medicare going to be insolvent in 8 to 10 years? I don't know. All I know is Joe Walsh wants to end it as we know it. Tammy, what are you going to do about the debt and the deficit? Tax those millionaires and billionaires. Tammy, let me ask you a question. Do you know that taxing those millionaires and billionaires won't even pay for 1 day in a year of what your government borrows? Tax those millionaires and billionaires. Tammy, do you know that 60% of those millionaires and billionaires are small business owners? You want to raise taxes on small business owners? Tax the wealthy and the rich. It's silliness. But, and I know everything I'm saying is being taped, and so the Duckworth campaign's going to examine all these words. Here's the danger, and I promise you I'll close with this. We're now at a point in this country where the Duckworth-Obama message, it's kind of worked. They've been able to get a lot of people dependent upon big government. Right, look how much trouble I got a year ago. I probably said it a year ago. Look how much trouble I got a week or two ago when I said on tape, it's the Democrats' mission to get people dependent upon government. White, black, and brown. All of us. And it's pretty simple. Again, remember their job, our job is to get reelected. Once they get you dependent upon government, every election, you're going to vote for the party of government. Because I'm going to keep increasing your benefits. That's not hard to figure out. It's easy. But look how incensed a lot of people were. You know why? True. Because there are a lot of people in this country dependent upon government. Mm-hmm. And Lordy B, we saw it play out up in Wisconsin. You saw in Wisconsin the battle between the makers, the producers, the taxpayers, and the doers against the public union employees who simply didn't want their benefits touched. We need to have that fight in Illinois. That's the fight in Washington. That should be the fight between Romney and Obama. And I hope Romney can say it just like that. I'm certainly going to try to say it against Tammy, millionaires and billionaires Duckworth. And I hope I can get her out to say it as well. But remember, there are going to be two very different campaigns in this district. You're going to see one guy out there a lot, and you're going to see the other candidate filming the guy that's out there a lot. Let me stop there. Remember, folks, one rule at our town hall is respect. Respect each other, respect every viewpoint. Respect, respect, respect. Who's got a thought, issue, a question about anything? Yes, sir.
I'd like to make two thoughts. Number one, what you said about what happened in Wisconsin may be a surprise to many people in this room, but the same thing happened in California, San Diego, and San Jose. One of the most liberal states in the union. The people are getting it. They understand they cannot support these benefits. And I was surprised to hear that they voted to end them or cut them. Point number two I wanted to make is that you're aware of the terminology independent contractor.
Yes.
And it's my understanding that many of the independent contractors get a 1099 at the end of the year.
Yes.
I have found out that many illegal immigrants are working as independent contractors. They get the 1099, they tear it up. The IRS doesn't have enough people to go after these $25,000, $30,000 wage earners. I would like to see a bill put forth where the companies who do employ independent contractors deduct the taxes from their wages. Those wages will be on their 1099. If they file a tax return, they're going to get credit for it. It's not being done. Washington is screaming for more revenue. Let's get the revenue that is due them from these these illegal immigrants who are in 1099.